Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to talk today talking about why we should listen to Shin Dong Hyuk. Yes, there were parts of his story in the book Escape from Camp 14 that were inconsistent, but the new editions of Escape from Camp 14, there's an introduction by the author Blaine Harden. And the reason some of those stories were inconsistent is because Shin Dong Hyuk, this was left out, and now this part was left out in the original book. Shin Dong Hyuk had been tortured with pliers. His hands had been tortured with pliers when he was in the concentration camps. And he has the marks on his hand to prove it. He has the marks and the scars to prove it. And regardless if the stories were inconsistent, he was still born in a labor camp and he was still tortured. The first memory he still has is an execution. Okay? The first memory I have of a child is watching the Transformers cartoons and an Optimus Prime toy. Imagine the first thing you remember is an execution. That's crazy. That's a crazy situation to be in. It's very bizarre and very evil. And when he got to South Korea, he was interrogated by South Korean intelligence agents, but also a U.S. Army intelligence agent. And the U.S. Army intelligence agent believed that Shin Dong Hyuk was born in a labor camp and that he was tortured. That's the underlying issue. Yes, he was born in Camp 14, and after a while he moved to Camp 18, tried to escape, made it to China, then moved to Camp 14 again. Chinese authorities called him, sent him back to North Korea, and Shin Dong Hyuk had to go back to Camp 14. But it doesn't change that when he was in Camp 14, he met a former government official who had been, a North Korean government official who had been working in China, but didn't come home to vote in a rigged election. These elections are rigged, and it's a rubber stamp legislature for Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-il. Or Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-il died in 2011. And all that voting is to vote in rigged elections where there's only one candidate, and that's the North Korean dictator. And he didn't make it in time for the election, so they took him to a labor camp. The guy that Shin Dong Hyuk escaped with. Unfortunately, the guy he escaped with got killed by the electric fence. Shin Dong Hyuk was electrocuted by it a little bit, but he made it through, and he's got the burn marks to prove it. And he cannot wear shorts or swimming trunks because of that. He mentions that in the documentary. You can find it on YouTube. It's an hour and 40-minute documentary. And he says that. You know, can you imagine not going to the beach and wearing swimming trunks? Can you imagine not going to the gym and wearing shorts? You know, just because there's a few minor discrepancies in his testimony does not mean his testimony is any less valid. Particularly since he had memory lapses from being tortured by pliers. Imagine his hands being tortured by pliers. He still had part of his finger cut off. You can see that. And his elbows bend in a weird way because he was malnourished as a child and he was overworked. You can see it, the way he bends his elbows. That's on the hour and 40-minute documentary as well. So, Shin Dong Hyuk's testimony is not any less valid. You can see why there's a lot of memory lapses if you're being tortured by pliers and somebody's got pliers on your hands and moving it around. Pretty sick. Very evil, actually. Hope everybody's doing well. Take care. God bless and bye-bye. Bye-bye.